Welcome back to Copper State Outdoors. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in here. So, my swamp cooler decided to go ahead and go into early retirement, but that ain't gonna happen. It's only a year old. I didn't read the instruction manual, which probably would have helped me get out of this situation if I had properly maintained it. I recommend, if you do have any outside animals, that you do get a swamp cooler. There is going to be a little upfront cost to it, but in the long run, it's going to be a lot more efficient to keep your animals cool during the Arizona summer times or whatever climate that you're in. Mostly for those that are experiencing anything above 85 degrees, this is definitely something beneficial for them. Right now, it is stormy and cool, so this was almost a blessing in disguise because I got a big crazy storm coming, so it's probably about 80 degrees, 85 degrees right now. Got a fan blowing on in here and there's wind blowing in here, so it's again a blessing in disguise that this died. I'm probably spending about $70 in parts. Home Depot didn't have the 5/8 that I needed for those pillow bearings, so I was able to find them at Ace Hardware, which was awesome. Luckily it was local and I didn't have to order it. They may have other sizes depending on the kind of unit that you get. This is just a Hess Air W38. Again, I got it because I could take care of the unit itself myself. Otherwise, that motor would probably cost me $140, but at least it was the bearings. I was able to get it off. So this is what a pillow bearing should look like. Nice, clean, yummy. This is what the previous one looked like. Now, I will account part of this towards splash damage from the swamp cooler. So when water trickles down, sometimes it hits right here and just splashes off, which can get everywhere. And there's literally a pad that's about right here, so there's only like 2 inches difference. And so over the past year, I've been running this almost 24/7. Rust kind of got to it and it bound up, which then in turn created this soot from the belt. Now this is part of the pulley wheel. It was not very easy to take off. So I had to buy one of these specialty wheel pulling thingies, like 25 bucks, but because that thing was on there pretty good too, this did make the job that much easier. And so instead of trying to smack it, yank on it and bust up my knuckles, yeah, made it kind of easy. This side, I was able to get this off. It's just that this thing is still on there. The only way I was able to get this off was by taking some channel locks, grabbing it on there, and twisting it off. But once I was able to get that off, I did purchase some oil. This is the Dial Zoom Spout oiler. Anyways, I got some oil, some 220 sandpaper, and I went ahead and sanded this down so that way I got rid of all the rust. So that way it was easier to put this on, but it is easier to put that oil on first before you try to slide this on. Otherwise it just goes on super easy when you do that. My bolts themselves that mount to this have since rusted, so I'm going to have to go ahead and get some new ones. These are just 1/4-inch bolts. This particular unit is the Hess Air W38. There are no instruction videos that I can find or anything that would list what kind of parts that this thing needs. So I've been kind of figuring everything out here on my own. This particular unit, I think it does 3,800 square feet. It is a 5/8 shaft. There are 3/4 and 1 inch, but this particular model is 5/8. So as you can see right there, that 5/8. That's what you need for this particular unit. The only reason I went with this particular unit, this one I think originally it was about $450 and then $50 after tax. Plus inflation, now it's about 600 bucks. And that was over the past year. I went with this particular unit so that way I could maintain it. I did try to get a used one. I think that one did about 1,500 square feet, but the motor and the mounts and everything was all right here in this central unit. Now the part itself, I could not find the motor for this, and it was a very specific one. It was like $100, but you had to special order it and everything. This I can find at Home Depot, no problem. I can find the wheel for it and replace that. So all this was easily replaceable. I did have to replace that pump. For whatever reason, I've been getting a lot of calcium buildup in mine. I've just been putting some vinegar in there, and it's actually been clearing it up. I probably had to put in maybe about 2, maybe 3 cups worth of it. I'm gonna have to vacuum all this out because it's so filthy down in there. All the dirt's falling down the side of that, and I really don't want to disassemble this whole thing, so I'm gonna have to figure all that out here pretty quick. Because this one's so rusted on. I had to use my channies to try to bust it off. One edge at a time. Then there's a small little copper bearing on the inside right there. That the other one split in half when I was pulling it off. So I'll probably just have to grab it and wriggle it loose. But putting oil on here beforehand, cleaning up that rust before you pull this off is probably going to be helping to pull that little piece off too. Alright, so I was able to grab it hard enough and give it a good little twist, and it shattered the majority of that. Otherwise, I've tried hitting it, soaking it with a little bit of oil, and then tried even prying it from the back to the front. But the only thing that got it to break loose is to go ahead and try to twist it, and it just went ahead and crumbled. So if you have anything else you want to try, go ahead and put it in the comments below to see if you can help anyone else here and get these darn things off. And that's what it looked like before sanding. And that's what it looks like after sanding. So definitely want to sand that down. Again, I'm just using 220 grit. You could use something else, but I wanted to use something fine just to make sure that I got it nice and clean. Now that we've got everything vacuumed out from the bottom in there, we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this hardware in. So just went to Home Depot, grabbed some simple hardware. It didn't come with this flat washer originally, but I just went ahead and put that on there so that way it just had more surface area to keep it held down. Then you just need a lock washer and a nut and bolt. This is 3/4 inch long, 1/4 inch in diameter, and it gives just enough that you can, it gives you just enough that you can actually go past it a little bit. So you need to get 4 of those and put them on both sides. Now, one thing I will mention is just make sure that you hold on to your parts so that way you don't lose them. This locks in right here for the wheel, so that way you can put your belt on. And this is the spacer that goes in between those 2 units. It goes right there. Otherwise, when you're tightening everything down, just go ahead and make sure that you don't do it too tight. It is a 7/16 for the 1/4 inch bolts. This right here, you could use a 10mm or you could use a 3/8. It is a little spacious, but that's what I found was best to get it out originally. It might be easier to put it back in with a wrench or something like that. But just make sure that you do lube everything up. That's what these little ports right here are for. You go ahead and take the oil that you've got, go ahead and top it up right there. It should lubricate everything in there. But again, I would just make sure that you sand this down because there is a ton of rust on there. So it is going to go ahead and expand the original diameter of the rod, making it harder for you to go ahead and put on that pillow bushing, as well as the wheel itself. And plus it's just going to make it easier so that way it doesn't corrode and makes it nice and easy flowing for the wheel. Working beautifully. Heck yeah! I was able to get it cleaned out, and now the quail are going to be happy and chirpy and laying eggs again. So thanks for tuning in here. If you have any other questions or any suggestions on how to help everyone else get these things on and off, please put them in the comments below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate it.